Baldwin at the Lake County Chamber of Commerce, speaking with Carrie Rangel, the Marketing Director and Communications Director at Cove. Carrie, can you start off by telling us what Cove stands for?
Cove stands for Communities Overcoming Violent Encounters.
And what does Cove do for communities and for individuals?
Cove provides services to the victims of domestic violence and sexual assault, which there's a myriad of services that we offer, but one of the biggest is that we have a shelter.
Okay, and a really cool thing happened with the shelter last year.
Mm-hmm.
You redid it, and it's now one of the most coolest shelters in the nation, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, last year, February 2015, we opened the doors to a new and innovative style of shelter for organizations like ours that provide services to domestic violence and sexual assault. We went from a communal style living, and most organizations like ours were in the same situation we were, which we had a 120-year-old house with 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and we were trying to accommodate as many people as we possibly could when they required shelter. So when we opened up the doors, we went from being able to accommodate 13 adults to 22 adults, and now we have individual living units. So they are little apartments with a bedroom and 3 beds, a living room, and a small kitchenette. And restroom, of course.
Wow, this is really helping people, really helping out the community. Anybody who has an issue with sexual assault or domestic violence, it can be male or female, elderly or a younger person, and they can come to you and they can get the help that they need, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, unfortunately, the problem sometimes has to get worse before it gets better. So when we open the doors, our numbers for 2015 and again for 2016 are steadily rising. I think there's a few reasons. First of all, it's going to a shelter after having something like that done to you, or for either a short period of time, so it's isolated, or whether it's a long period of time, it's very scary. You have mothers or fathers with kids, and so finally being able to leave your situation is one thing, and then being put into an area where you're with other people and their children, and you just don't know how they're going to react. So I think that the new building, while we didn't really know, it's hard to say, yes, a building really does make a difference. No, a building really did make a difference, because the style of the individual living units, it's really welcoming and inviting. So I think people, it's actually making them maybe a little more willing to come forward and move, because they know that they're going to have a little bit of privacy in order to start the process of healing from what's happened to them.
Right, and I really like that it's more personal and more private for these bigger families. If they do have an issue, they can come to you. And I don't like that the numbers are rising, but it's also a good thing that people are feeling more and more comfortable to come to Cove and to come to different organizations like Cove and to really get the help that they need and to get the support that they need.
Yeah, and it's really more in the past 5 to 10 years where shelters like ours have actually even published their locations. And our new facility is right on the main avenue as you're coming into Ludington. We service Mason Lake and Oceana County, and when they decided where they wanted to build the new building, they decided that was kind of central for Lake and Oceana counties. And so, now that we're sort of making ourselves more in the forefront, I think it's helping people within our communities to understand that we're even there. Right. I mean, that's one of the biggest issues is most of the time, anybody that works for an organization like ours, they don't necessarily get a person like me who's able to go out there and be a cheerleader for them. They're too busy in crisis mode. Mm-hmm. Your advocates are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, going out on crisis calls. So to get on a soapbox and say these issues are real, they're here, it's not easy to get that information to the people that need the help. Mm-hmm. So while we've been in existence for going on 40 years, sometimes people say, Cove? What's Cove? And I'm sure over in Newaygo County they say Wise. Who's Wise? Like, we didn't even know that was here. Why wasn't it available when I needed help? Well, we were. You just didn't know about it. So I think putting it out there, making sure that you're in as many places as possible, that TV stations give you the opportunity to talk about it, so that if there's somebody out there who needs help, especially in the holiday season, they know about us.
Yeah, and that is a really wonderful thing to get out to the public and to let viewers know, to let anybody know that there are places that they can get help. And I just want to emphasize that Cove is for everybody who is experiencing any kind of violence, any kind of sexual abuse. Mm-hmm. They can come to Cove. It's not necessarily targeted for women. No, it's for everybody, correct?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yep. And we don't have a shelter in Lake or in Oceana County, but we have offices here. So we have advocates that are here all week long, and if anybody does need shelter, they have transportation to be able to get there. Those people are available to come in to help with some counseling. They will help get you to and from different appointments to help you sign up for any kind of benefits or anything like that. And really, they're there because sometimes people aren't ready to leave. On average, a victim, it takes 7 to 9 times before they finally leave. So 7 to 9 times of leaving their situation and going back before they finally decide that it's the time. But maybe sometimes all they want to do is talking about leaving. They're not ready to do it yet, but they want somebody to help them come up with a plan.
Yeah.
And so our advocates are there and they're ready at all times. And I always say to people, we're in the business of putting ourselves out of business. And even though we just built a big, beautiful new building, I hope someday, maybe in my lifetime, it's like retail space, because I would love an Ann Taylor instead of a domestic violence shelter, right? But the reality is it has to get worse before it gets better.
Right. And so how can people contact you and find you?
Well, first of all, we're at 906 East Ludington Avenue in Ludington. So that's our main shelter. That's where our administrative offices are, and the shelter's open 24/7. Or here in Lake County, we're at the DHHS office. Our office is in there. So, just stop by or call. Or, as always, we have our 800 number, 800-950-5808. Call anytime, night or day, and we'll have somebody who can come and help you, or if you just need to talk.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Carrie, for telling us all about Cove.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
In Lake County Chamber of Commerce with My News 26, I'm Marlaina Scarbrough.